Alright lads, so today we have some potential exciting news. 1000 Year Blood War Round 2, Yachiru, and also Kenpachi are about to receive their resurrections. We don't know exactly what they are going to get, but they are potentially in line for our next resurrection. That was a question that many of us were asking. Are they just going to give us back-to-back 1000 Year Blood War resurrections every single month until round 4 is done? Or are they going to go in order of the banner release? And in that case, that's what I was kind of expecting. So I wasn't expecting this banner to get resurrected until basically the end of the year. Which, if you don't know, is when this banner actually came out back in 2017. Now, shout out to Hiken for this as always. The reason why we do know they're potentially next is that, as you can see here, their models were added for resurrections. This kind of happened sometime last month, I believe, for the Halloween characters. And that's why we knew they were next too. It's currently the 8th of November, so that means by the 13th they are going to be released. So within the next couple of days, lads, we are going to find out these characters' resurrections. And that right there, it's just crazy to me to think that these characters are about to get resurrected. So as always, to build up some anticipation for that, and also maybe to set some expectations, let's talk about what these characters could receive when it comes to their actual resurrections. So firstly, let's start off with Yachiru. So what we actually can see here, let's quickly zoom in. So Yachiru was a character that came out, was very bad, was very, very bad, worse than Byakuya even. Now, as we have gone by, she kind of aged better to a certain extent, because obviously Espada Killer is now actually good. Prior to her release, Espada Killer was actually just very bad. Espada Killer has become more sought after to a certain extent since we have Guild Quest now, where characters like this can actually be used, and in this case, she is a character that was given Bombardment +1 and also Weakened Defense, making her an actual good nuke of a character. But as we all are aware, when it comes to Guild Quest, you can't really nuke that well. But she is a character, depending on how they resurrect her, could actually see use in that particular Guild Quest. In addition to that, she always has been a very good link, since you can see here that she is a strong attack recharge minus 14% soul trait. So what I'm really hoping here, especially because she is a 1000 Year Blood War character, do give her a good resurrection. Like, I know I'm someone that has, preached the idea of, status augment soul trait with recharge. I like those links, but let's put that on premium characters. Let's put that on characters that are 12% recharge. In this case, this is one of the few 14% recharge power characters that are set to get resurrections, at least within the next couple of so years. So let's not mess this one up. So just to make it easy, play it safe, either give her full stamina damage or strong attack damage. That's the best thing they can do in this particular situation. So regardless of what skills she does get, at the very least, she's going to be one of the best links for the power attribute. Moving away from that though, actually looking at this particular character skills, what we have here is Berserker +40, Bombardment +1, Bruiser +30, Long Reach +20%, Sprinter +1, and also Weakened Defense. So in this particular case, Yachiru does have 6 skills. Now, as we do know with round 1 of 1000 Year Blood War, when they got their resurrections, is that 1000 Year Blood War characters are getting special treatment, technically, as they are given that extra skill, 8 skills instead of the usual 7 skills. So in this case, this Yachiru is going to pick up 2 extra skills. What exactly could she pick up? In a perfect world, this is what I'm really hoping for. Now, it's no surprise this character is lacking Frenzy. That's the big thing about her. Now, of course, the whole meme, Byakuya never picked up Frenzy. However, in this particular case, Yachiru, as of right now, has a better chance of picking up Frenzy than Byakuya. Byakuya, for the most part, was always a hybrid. I still think they should have gave him Frenzy, but if we actually look at the difference between Byakuya and Yachiru, there is a big difference between these two, despite both of them not giving Frenzy upon their official release. In this case, Yachiru has a higher SP stat compared to Byakuya's more average hybrid stat. And then when you look at Arena, for example, she was given strong attack damage. So she's always basically been an SP character that just didn't have Frenzy because she was given Bombardment, and that's what they did back then. Whereas in Byakuya's case, he was technically always just a hybrid character that just so I guess happened to have Bombardment, if that kind of makes sense. I still think Byakuya should have been given Frenzy, but that's I guess how maybe Caleb see it. So in this particular case, she is still different to Byakuya, and I think because of that, it does warrant her getting Frenzy. Again, everything that she has right now is leading to a strong attack damage, so there's no reason to make her a hybrid still. Give her Frenzy +1. She's missing 2 skills, so that's definitely a very likelihood that she could get that. And at the same time, I do hope she keeps her Berserker value. Frenzy +1 with the 40% Berserker, and maybe an additional 60% strong attack damage or full stamina. That would actually make her usable, and that's the most important part when it comes to these resurrection characters. You want to make them usable, because right now in this particular character's case, she was never usable. Giving her Frenzy +1, keeping the Berserker, maybe giving her full stam or an extra 60% strong attack damage, that will make her usable. I will max Transcend if they do that. And then for the extra skill, again, if they do give her 8 skills, what could she pick up? I'm hoping she picks up Havoc. That would actually be really good. And again, if she picks up Havoc and Frenzy +1, it's a lot asking for in terms of Caleb's sake when they come to resurrecting characters, right? they can be really hit or miss here, right? But if they were to give her the Havoc plus 20% and also the Frenzy plus 1, that right there would be one of the best resurrections today, and that's what I'm really hoping for here. Perfect scenario, Havoc plus 20%, and also Frenzy plus 1. At the same time, because this character's usability is most likely going to be used in Guild Quest, she technically doesn't need Havoc in that particular case, and what they could do is give her the Frenzy plus 1, and maybe give her an extra 30% devastation, and that will allow her to again be a hard-hitting nuke, just like Byakuya. And if we start to get more characters that do damage to non-status afflicted enemies, that will potentially allow characters like this Yachiru to be a very good lead in Guild Quest, but that's a big if, keep that in mind. Byakuya, despite being obviously a very disappointing resurrection, he actually pairs quite well with 1000-Year Blood War Ichigo, because he is a hard-hitting nuke that does inflict status, and that allows Ichigo to do a lot of damage on his strong attacks. But I will admit, it's very situational. So when it comes to me, this is the one that I'm most looking forward to, because, you know, Kenpachi and Yachiru, they had their time to shine, but this particular Yachiru never really had a chance to shine, so I'd kind of hope here for her to pick up a somewhat decent resurrection. And again, we'll find that out in a couple days time. But she has some good potential, especially because they shafted the last Yachiru, the Halloween one. They gave her basically nothing. There's no way they're going to shaft Yachiru again, right? Surely not. Come on, Caleb. Just don't do it again. You shafted the last one, so let's hope you can balance it out and bless this particular character. After that, we then have Kenpachi, again, another character that has some potential here when it comes to his resurrection. So looking at this particular character, what we see here is that he is a strong attack damage plus 20% soul trait. This character does not have any built-in recharge. Very similar to Shunsui, for example, last resurrection batch. He was a strong attack damage character, and he picked up the 10% recharge as a second soul trait. And that's what needs to happen here. They could go down the route again, maybe giving him full stamina damage, and that would be, I guess, decent for a Link. But personally, when it comes to a playable character, he needs to pick up recharge, right? Every character needs to have that built-in recharge, and in his case, his strong attacks, despite him having a transform mechanic on his soul bomb, you want to have that 10% recharge, right? So when it comes to the soul trait, best case scenario here for him to be a good Link and a better character, he needs to pick up that 10% recharge. And then having a look at his skills, he has a 20% bruiser, 40% devastation, frenzy plus 1, long reach plus 20%, and also poise. The great thing about this particular character, I guess, that he was given only 5 skills. So when it comes to his resurrection, he should be given 8 skills, and that therefore means he's picking up 3 new skills. Now, what exactly could they actually give him? It really depends. I'm hoping they don't give him follow-up. Hopefully they don't do something stupid like they did with Shunsui, giving him follow-up that isn't really going to help him here. I feel like Sprinter plus 1 is due. Now, of course, we can give him Sprinter plus 1 when it comes to his bonus abilities, but let's just give him Sprinter plus 1. If you don't know, I think this was the last character to have this. Kenny's, for some reason, because he's more like a tank, he was always given poise. Kenpachi was always given poise. Kenpachis, for the most part, were always like NAD characters. With Flurry, for example, Flurry, for the most part, was a skill unique to Kenpachis back in the day. And because he was always that, like, deal damage, tank damage type of character, they never gave him Sprinter plus 1. Eventually, they stopped doing that, and they started making him like an SP character, started giving him the Sprinter plus 1, didn't always give him poise, for example. So in this case, when it comes to that resurrection, one of the 3 skills this character needs to pick up is poise, because he needs it. Because right now, you know, I used to play this character back in Epic Raids. It was terrible. Sprinter plus 1 is needed on this character. The second skill he could potentially pick up is, of course, Havoc plus 20%. That's ideal. When it comes to a character like this, you want him to have more range. And if he does pick up Havoc, that's going to be very good for this particular character. And then for the final and 8th skill, it can go either way. They could give him 20% Berserker to go alongside that strong attack damage soul trait. So therefore, he has 40% Berserker, which isn't far off to some of like the worst characters of this year. And if he does get Sprinter plus 1 and also Havoc plus 20% with that 40% Berserker on top of the fact that he now has more range and also a soul bomb that can transform, that wouldn't be too bad. Again, it would make him playable for the most part. But at the same time, maybe if they don't want to give him Havoc, maybe they don't want to give him Berserker plus 20%, they could give him something like Weakened Defense. And that wouldn't be a bad idea, especially in Guild Quest, for example, since he does have a Soul Bomb that transforms him. We kind of see that with the Free Phase Battle Ichigo, where he has the transform mechanic, but also Weakened Defense. And it's a cool idea that could be potentially broken sometime in the future if a better character gets a transform mechanic on their Soul Bomb, where you use your Soul Bomb, all your strong attacks reset, you apply the Weakened Defense, and then all your strong attacks come back, and now you're hitting significantly harder. It's a cool idea. I like the idea of it. I kind of wouldn't mind seeing it on this particular character. But for me, for what I want to see in a perfect situation, at least in my opinion, 10% strong attack recharge, Sprinter plus 1, 20% Havoc, and also 20% Berserker. That would be ideal for this particular character, and it would actually make him somewhat usable for the most part. But if he doesn't get that, the main thing to take away from this is that he is going to pick up 3 new skills. So hopefully those 3 skills he does pick up are good. And then last but not least, we have Yachiru Unohana, one of the most influential characters in the game. Like, this character was broken upon release. And unfortunately, because she was the best character of the banner, she might get the worst resurrection because she already has a good set of skills. Not good set of skills, but she already has 6 skills. And because she's a Brave Battle character, what exactly can they give her to make her better? Now, of course, Guard Break would be ideal here. It would make her usable at the very least in PvE content. That's something Sergeant did actually unfortunately lack. But considering that Sergeant didn't even get it, I don't think now they would randomly give this character Guard Break, so I'm not expecting it. But that would be nice to see. At the same time, she is a Brave Battle character, and it's going to be really hard to make her usable in Brave Battles again. And as of right now, Caleb haven't really given any skills when it comes to resurrecting characters that are unique to Brave Battles. For example, Brave Battle Immunity, go through counters, Pierce Barrier even. Some of those skills that would make her a better Brave Battle character, they haven't given out yet. But it would be cool to see her get skills for Brave Battles, and then it would be nice to see somewhat of a resurgence of Yachiru in Brave Battles. Because as of right now, unless you have a max transcended, you don't really see Yachiru in Brave Battles anymore. But regardless of that, looking at her soul trait, she is a minus 60% damage taken. So what we are expecting here is for her to pick up 60% normal attack damage, or 18%, whatever the normal attack damage you do get upon picking up a second soul trait. She should pick up normal attack damage for the second soul trait, right? That would make her, again, hit a tad bit harder, and at the same time, it'd also make it a pretty good link for any other future heart character, namely Yuha. If you use Yuha in Brave Battles, being able to get that extra bit of DR and also normal attack damage would actually be really good, especially in his case, because he has Flurry plus 2. Looking at her skills though, she has a 30% Berserker, Flurry plus 1, Long Reach plus 20%, and also Medic, Poise, and Sprinter plus 1. So, I guess realistically what she can pick up here is a 30% Bruiser. That wouldn't be too bad. Again, it would make her hit harder. I think that's what Sergeant picked up, if I remember correctly. And I guess 30% Bruiser on top of having that extra 60% NAD on her potential soul trait, that would, again, make her hit 46% harder, right? That would be better in that case. And especially for those that do have a max transcendent and those that do want to use it in Brave Battles, that will make just better overall, right? But then as for that 8th skill, honestly, I am slumped. I have no idea what they could give her. Like, again, they could give a Pierce Barrier, Start Barrier, they could give us something maybe orientated to Brave Battles, but they haven't done it in the past, so I'm not really too sure what they could give her here. They might even get a follow-up, and I guess that would be somewhat decent in PvE content. But I guess those that do want to use it in PvE content, picking up that extra 30% normal attack damage and maybe Guard Break would be good here, but they haven't given out Guard Break, so I'm not really sure what to expect for that particular A skill. And for those wondering, in Arena, she does pick up Healer, so extra 30% heals on that SA2. So because she does have that in Arena, she's not going to pick that up in a Resurrection. We saw that with the Tag Team Retsu where she didn't pick up the Sablon because she gets it in Arena. So you can cross off the fact of her getting Healer for this Resurrection, which I guess is kind of good because that was probably what she would have picked up. So she has some potential here to maybe pick maybe even weak in defense or weak in attack. I'm not really too sure what they could do here. Unlike Yachiru and also Kenpachi, they have been missing skills, and because of that, they can get a decent resurrection. In her case, at least for the time of her release, she had all the skills she needed. So she's the one that I'm not really looking forward to the most, unfortunately, despite her being the most iconic character in this banner. But if they do give a 30% Bruiser, the extra 60% normal attack damage, and also maybe Guard Break or something that could make her better in Brave Battles, that would be kind of hype, but I'm not expecting much for this particular resurrection. But at the very least, she should be a good link for someone like Yuha. But with that said, lads, that was basically just, speculation video about these new characters. Also, just letting you lads know that these resurrections are next. We might get news of it tomorrow morning, maybe in a couple of days' time. I'm not entirely too sure, but I just want to talk about it before these characters do officially get resurrected. I'm excited for these characters regardless, and I don't have a super high expectation for this. I never do for resurrections. But just going in line with what Caleb have done in the past, if they just don't mess it up here and just do some decent upgrades, I would be excited and I'll be happy to use these characters again when they do get resurrected, potentially in a couple days' time. So with that said, hope you lads enjoyed this discussion video. In the comments below, let me know what you lads want to see for these particular characters in terms of resurrections, keeping it realistic, right? Let's not say Frenzy +2 on Kenpachi. That's not happening. But I'm curious to see what you lads think these characters should pick up upon resurrecting. With that said, hope you lads enjoyed the video. I'll see you lads next time. Take care and peace.